Hello, if you are connecting with me for the first time, I am Janet M. Taylor, and I have been an organizing expert for over 28 years. And I help people organize their homes, their offices, their times, and their life, which is why I'm glad you joined us today because I am here with Dr. Wendy Coulson, and she's going to share with us just some strategies on how we can help our moms organize their medical and health information. Dr. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Janet.
So, before we get into our conversation, I am going to read Dr. Wendy's bio. And it says, as an engineer, Dr. Wendy Coulson created solutions to complex problems. Dr. Wendy invented a way to fill the gap in personal health knowledge and needed partners with specific expertise. She pitched her idea for the My Body Passport to her sister Laura, a doctor of family medicine, and then to her brother Andrew, a data strategist, to form the Personal Health Record Dream Team. Together, they created the most accurate, comprehensive, and useful way to keep track of your health. Wendy's goal is to help people and their friends and families improve their health habits, with the results being measurable benefits and health outcomes worldwide. And of course, I first met Dr. Wendy over 5 years ago, and of course, I have my own personal copy here. So, again, Wendy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Janet. It's great to be here. Great to
So,
be here.
So I want you to share because our mothers and their health and that caregiving role that we take on, it's like different levels. So I want those viewers to hear about how your mother is really utilizing this product.
Right. So, uh, my mother is a very healthy 80 something. She has been, has got great genes and great habits. And so she is very active and she's got her self agency regarding her health in good working order. Most of us don't really have that much self agency, and so this is a tool to really get everybody into the next level of self agency when it comes to their health. That they actually can use a tool to take care of themselves no matter what age, and then also to organize the increasing amount of health information we have as we age. So my mother uses the classic My Body Passport. This one is in her on her fridge magnet that comes with this, so it's on her refrigerator, and she takes it to all her appointments. So it's comprehensive, and this goes with her on her appointments. She's going to Europe next week. I told you she's very very active. So for going to Europe, she'll take her little My Body Passport adventure. Here's one that doesn't have the cover on it. So this is so her traveling companions, should anything happen to her, can find out, well, what meds is she on and what's normal, and if anything happens, it's that kind of information. So the thing I have to look forward to, because my mother is again, she's on her own and she's very independent. However, should anything suddenly happen to her, and that's what I find happens with our mothers, it's a sudden event that changes everything. And for the case of my mother, I will go to her My Body Passport, and that's where I'll find every aspect of her health, from her dental to her vision to all her doctors to her habits. And I can then share that with whoever I need to in order to help her when she needs it. So I think that's the big pre-planning for when that suddenly happens.
And Wendy, I wish I had had this for my mom because I went in it with the unknown. It just happened, immediately, like suddenly. I'm on the phone. I look out the kitchen. She's, grabbing the walls. We go to the hospital. And then the next thing I know, they're telling me, she's got leukemia, which was just a shock. And then, of course, I knew she was going to the doctors. I knew she had all the medication. But this would have really helped me be a little bit more prepared mentally and also maybe just see how her health was doing and maybe, possibly do something preventative in regards to maybe her diet and maybe a little exercise. But even during that time when I was, caring for her, it would have been great to have all her information because she had so many different doctors asking me so many different questions.
Right.
I'm trying to keep on top of all the information, even as organized as I was. And then, of course, when she started going through chemo, then that was more medication she was on. And it was like a
Yeah.
bag full of medicine that I literally
Hmm.
had to take with me every time we went to the doctor, or I called it my grab bag when I had to take her to emergency. And it would have been great just to have this book, the My
Yeah.
Body Passport, with everything in it. So it would have just been a chronological over, the last year and a half of her life, but it really would have helped me be a little bit more organized.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of the My Body Passport in a future session, but this is one of the forms at the towards the end of the book, and at the top it says office, hospital, urgent care, or emergency. And when you're in a situation where you're going from one doctor to the next doctor, into the ER, off to the, you know, cancer treatment, whatever, things change. And what I found, two things I found with the older population is the electronic health records aren't always updated as quickly as you can write things down. So the next doctor doesn't necessarily know what just happened 2 hours ago. So that's
And that,
one thing that this is, again, that self agency, that caring for your loved one, where you can be an advocate and you write on top of things just by writing them down. And it doesn't mean you have to understand what the drug does, but you know the name of the drug and you know the dose. And the doctors then can figure out what's going on. So that's one thing. The other thing I've noticed with people's parents, so most of our parents are in their 80s or 70s, whatever, 90s, and they don't necessarily have the most updated dosages. So what's happened is they were diagnosed in, say, 1995. They were given a dosage and they've been diligent to take this dosage. Well, science has advanced, and at knowledge in 2022, they might be over or under medicated, but nobody knows because they're just diligently taking their dose. And
hmm
that happens quite a bit. More and more people I talk to, they're astounded. And I was actually my aunt was in the hospital, and she was in her 80s. And the endocrinologist came in. He was fresh out of residency, top of the line. He saw her dosage, and his eyes popped out of his head. He was like, we got to get her off this right away. She's over medicated. So that happens, but it won't happen unless we care for each other.
And yep, and you're so right because that happened to my mother because one day a friend came by and she was having a really great conversation. I gave her lunch, gave her medicine, and then she passed out. I had to rush her to the hospital, and I did, I grabbed all the medication. The doctors were looking at it, and they realized that it was actually it was an incorrect dosage,
Mm-hmm.
and it was way more than her body could even handle.
Right,
And that's why she passed out. So you're right. It's like all this different medication, and then sometimes
right.
we don't know because we get the script, we go to the pharmacist, we get it filled, but doctors can really identify those things. So, and that's
Yes,
another reason why the My Body Passport is such a great product because it keeps track of all it. But just alone, just to be able to list all the doctors and their numbers in one section is like such a benefit. So Wendy, what is like one of the like key benefits from, I mean, you've just mentioned so many, but a key
right.
benefit from somebody
Yeah,
watching and like, what? Do I
yeah.
really need that?
I think what's really important when we think of caring for, and this could be our mothers, our fathers, our aunties, our uncles, our godparents, our older neighbors, whoever, but what I think is so important is it's a vehicle for communication, for follow up, and as an advocate. And I think, emotions run high when it's your parents or your loved one and they're not doing well. Um, Frustrations run high when you're older and you're facing getting old and your body doing things that you don't necessarily want it to do. So it's an emotionally charged time, and I think having it written down ahead, knowing again that it's all in one place. You don't need to remember a password. It doesn't matter if the internet's working or not. It doesn't matter if somebody has a Mac and somebody has a you know,
The PC.
PC or an iPhone or an Android. It just doesn't matter because you can just read through the paper. And I think the other key benefit is it can avoid mistakes, and that's part of being an advocate and the follow up. But it's just a very person centered. Where we as humans are not so overwhelmed by sharing a book. So it's a very personal, loving, uncharged way of communicating, and especially again with our older people.
Yeah, and that is so true. That is so true. Well, those of you watching, this is just part one of four parts because we're going to have a part about our bodies, our health, and then our daughters, their health, and then of course, you know, Dr. Wendy Coulson, she's going to give us like an overview of the My Body Passport as well. So be sure you watch all four videos. But of course, if you are interested in ordering a copy of the My Body Passport for yourself or for somebody you love, there's links below in regards to the products and the different ones for the different generations, which is why we're doing four different parts. So I do hope you have enjoyed this. Please share this with your families, your friends, and those in your life that you care about. And thank you so much for joining us.